Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another video street ride. It's your boy Rick, and today we're doing a brake upgrade. We're going to be doing the brake pads from R1 Concept and the new floating two-piece rotors from 034. We got all the necessary components to do this upgrade. I'm excited to do it. They look phenomenal. We'll get a close-up look of them before we get started. In this video, we're going to go ahead and take the old rotors off. We're going to weigh them. We're going to find out what the difference is in weight between 034 and these OEM rotors. And then we'll install them, all right? I'll break it all down. I'll go through the parts that I have and everything like that, so as we go over this, okay? Okay, so let's quickly go over this because I really want to get these things installed as soon as possible. I've had the rotors forever and I had to wait on the brakes to come in, and they finally came in today. It's late at night and I want to kind of get this started. So first things first is we have the rear set right here. Here's the rear rotors. Those are gonna be the front ones right here. You can see they're slightly bigger. Then the R1 Concept brake pad ceramic series. And I went ahead and got both the front and rear wear sensors. Okay, they don't cost much. I do recommend you change them out. These are not the OEM ones, these are another brand, but we'll see how it fits. Hopefully it fits well. Then I also went ahead and ordered all these shims. Now I got the brake pads and the rest of these accessories. These accessories. So the front and the shims here from carid.com. The rear sensor I got from, I believe it was ECS.com or something like that. And then, of course, I got the rotors from 034, okay? So let's go over the tools I'll be using. As always, remember this is just a guide on how to do brake rotor replacements. It's also important to notate that the rotors go on a particular side of the vehicle. You can find the rotation, path, or direction of the rotor on the top of the rotor like so. Time to get started. Now we have changed the brakes. I've done a video on that before, so I'm going to actually put that video, right there. You can click right there, and you'll be able to see in detail how I removed the caliper and changed the brake pads out. Now, to save time in this video, I'm gonna go over a high-level overview of how to remove the caliper or whatnot on the front. Now, the rear, we haven't done before, so when we get to the rear, I will break it down on how to do the rear, okay? Because you will need an OBD11 to release the brakes in the rear, or some type of device that allows you to release the brakes in the rear. Okay, I have an OBD11, that's why I said that. So let's do a quick overview on how to get the caliper off, then I will do the job, and then once we get to taking the rotor off, then I'll get into a little bit more detail, okay? Okay, so now this is the back side of the rotor. So it's real simple to remove the caliper. You're gonna have two 13-16 bolts here. So one here, one there. You're gonna remove those two, okay? But actually, before you remove those two, you're going to want to remove these T or M10 triple square bit. Let me see, the other one is right there. You're going to remove these two. There you go. Remove those two right there, so that this bracket will be free and this brake line will be free. And then once you remove those two, then go ahead and remove the 13-16 bolt here, 13-16 bolt here. Have something to place the rotor on. That way you don't have to remove this here brake line and get fluid everywhere, unless that's your style and you want to do all that and you want to take the caliper completely off. Whatever, it's your life, you can do what you want. Also, remember to cock the wheel. I should have said that first. You're going to want to cock the wheel so you can get to those triple square bits that are right here real easy. And then I'm going to use this bucket to place the rotor on. And then one last thing, actually two things. There's a sensor clip right here. We're gonna remove that. All right, you're gonna want to basically just pull this forward, and then you'll pinch and squeeze and pull it off, okay? And lastly, I'm gonna show you on the driver's side, I'm sorry, that this is where you would take the wear sensor out. On the other side, I'll show you that right now. So this is why I'm replacing my brake sensor, wear sensors, because The other one had the brake pads were so low, it wore off here. So this will plug in right where the stock one was. You see it's shaped like a bullet, I guess you could say. It's gonna go in to this bracket and it's gonna lock, and then you'll connect the connector on. It's real simple. If you take this one out, it'll be like this. You'll rotate it this way and pull it toward you. You might have to wiggle it to get it out. It's usually only on the driver's side though, so you only gotta do it once. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started and remove this, and then I'll get back once we get to the rotor. Again, there's already a video out on how to remove the caliper, so if you need more in-depth look at how to do that, go ahead and check out that other video. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, I have my caliper sitting on the bucket here. I told you, you don't want it hanging by the brake line, and we have the rotor here. So let's go over some things. First thing is, you're gonna want a T30 to go here. All right, I have my T30 right here, and then I'm going to use my ratchet and hit that off. You're going to need the same T30 for the bolts, that screws that go into this dust shield or heat or brake shield, whatever you want to call it. 034 in their instructions, they say remove it, so we're going to remove it. I don't know if it's necessarily required, but if they say to remove it, we're going to remove it, okay? And then you're going to want to take your rubber hammer or dead blow hammer and hit the back of this to bring it forward. You might have to hit around all this to knock all the rust and debris here so it'll slide off. You're gonna need some really good hits to get this off, so good luck. Hopefully that broke some of that loose. Let's see if we can hit it off now. There it goes. And your rotor is off. Now to take the dust shield off, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these torque bit screws. Shouldn't take much effort. Oh, as I say that. All right, there we go. A little effort. You're just gonna go all the way around. So let me just do that. All right, so once you take it off, it should look like this. And you can go ahead and put on your new rotor, and you just wanna line up the screw hole there with the one right there. So let me get it lined up and the screw put back in, and we'll be back. Okay, let's see how much this rotor weighs. We got it off. 25.6 pounds. All right, so let's grab the 034 rotor. All right. All right, 21.2. Save 4 pounds, roughly. Not bad. One thing I forgot to mention is make sure you clean this off. Make sure there's no debris there. It's nice and clean. That way this will slide right on. And when you're putting this on and you're tightening this down, once it feels like it won't move anymore, just double check and make sure the rotor is all the way back. See, I had tightened it down. It kind of felt like it stopped. Just make sure it's all the way back, and now I can twist it some more. All right, so next is we're gonna put on those R1 Concept brake pads, the ceramic ones. I'm actually gonna clean this up with some brake cleaner so it'll look a little bit better, and then we're gonna change out the shims and we'll go from there. All right, so let's go over the shims real quick. If you decided to get shims like myself to replace your old ones, one here, I'm sorry, one there, then you'll have the holders here. There are 1, 2, and 3, and 4. It'd be good to use your flat tip screwdriver to help pop them out. And when you put these in, you'll notice that the smaller part right here will go toward the middle. So you'll have the one there, and then the one right here. You put that part in first, and then it'll kind of just snap in. So you'll go like this, and it'll snap in. That's how you put those in. If you do it the opposite way, you'll have a hard time because of the way that is. Right here, getting over this lip. So it'll get it in this groove here, then it'll snap right in that way. So it'll look like this, where the short ends are in the middle. Okay? And when you put these in, they're gonna go with this little weird lip thing here, which is not on the OEM ones, will be on the outside. I don't blame you if you decide to want to cut this little thing right here off, but it's supposed to be some type of spring action to it. It'll be very annoying when you put the pads in there, but it's supposed to help with noise and vibration and everything, so I'm actually going to keep mine on and just tough it out. There, all the shims are out, and now I'm going to clean inside where all that grease and gunk is, clean that all out, and then put the new shims in. All right, so once you get all your shims in, which I have, it should look like this. Just get that to zoom. There you go. I added some brake glide lube. Just make sure they're pressed all the way in, and you should be ready to add your brakes. Again, I'll put that link again for the brake pad replacement I did with the yellow stuff if you need help getting the pads in. Now with these, they're a little bit more difficult when you have new shims in. Bear with it, you can get it in. This is probably the worst part of doing this job, is getting these brake pads in. Take your time, patience, a beer, whatever you got to do. Walk away from it, come back if you're having trouble putting the pads in. The new shims are worth it, okay? Should help with any brake noise and stuff like that, okay? Now we're going to do the rear side, and it's kind of similar to the front. I think it's less work, but first thing you're going to want to do after you get your car up in the air is you need to go ahead and connect your device to the OBD port and release the rear brakes electronically. I think that's the safest way to do it. Some people say there's other ways to do it. I think you should do it like that. Once you do that, it'll bring the electric brake as far back as it's supposed to go, and then you can push the caliper, push the piston in the rest of the way, which isn't very far. So with this, what I do is I'm going to take the two, I believe 13mm bolts, one here and the other one down here. I'm going to take those off, and then you'll want to take off the 18mm caliper bolts on the back side here, just like the front, but they're going to be 18mm here. The reason why I do that is you get better access to pushing the piston back if you take these off. Once you get it down, I'm going to get a bucket to place everything on top of again. We'll remove this by taking this Torx bit out here and then this plate. All right, it's a little intimidating because a lot of electronic components back here, but it's actually pretty simple. So let's go ahead and knock that out. So I've never taken any of these bolts off back here before, so everything's going to be pretty tight, pretty snug. So I might have to use a little bit of leverage here. So let's see how tight this is. That one's not so bad. Now if you look, it's trying to spin this part right here. Oops. This part right here. Just go ahead and see it spinning. So you may have to grab another wrench. Now in between this weird, I don't know why they designed it like this, but you see it's kind of tight to get a wrench in here. So there's the lip I can grab with this 13/16, and then I can stop it from spinning. If you don't have a wrench skinny enough to fit on the actual bolt, there's a lip you can get something bigger on. There's one. Let's keep a bolt in here. We're moving. Trusty hammer. Awesome. And it's moving both parts again. One, two. All right, so I'm going to show you this, but it's going to be hard for me to record it. This 10mm nut here is this whole bracket, and the bracket is going to give you Once you remove that bracket, it'll give you a lot of room to move the caliper off. All right, so you'll just take that 10mm bolt right here out, okay? It's on the top. So it's behind the rotor right here on the top. Here it is. And now the bracket can move. And that gives you the ability to kind of move this off. Now there's my wear sensor. Then I gotta pull out of this brake. Almost forgot about that. Here we go. There it is. Now, if you need more space, you can undo the sensor on this side. Let me show you. You can undo this sensor right here. You have to pull it out just like before in the front. Then you got to pull the red part out here and then pinch and pull the sensor off. I don't need the space, so I won't be doing that, but yeah. All right, so I actually decided to go ahead and disconnect this. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of work and it makes things easier to move around. So this is now the wear sensor. This part actually clips into the caliper. You'll see it when you go to remove it. We're just gonna slide this out and then we'll be able to rotate this and slide it out this column and put our new one in. Let's see if we can get it out here. There, yeah, so that slides out like that. So it slides out like that. And we should be able to rotate this. Woo. Don't drop the caliper. Yeah. I'm gonna grab these pliers and try it. There you go. Rotate. Like the front, I just wiggled it till it came out, so there it is. So here's our new sensor. I think I rotated it the wrong way, but anyway, you want the rounded part to go down and then rotate. Snaps in like that. Put your sensor back on. And we'll clip this in right, let's see where it goes. So you can see that. Right there, that's where it goes. There. And then this will go into the new brake pad. Now we want to take this bracket off, all right, so that we can remove the rotor. You're gonna need your 18mm wrench for that. It's gonna be really tight, so I will probably attach another wrench to this, like so. Let me bring this back just a little bit. So like that. Give me more leverage. And still can't move it. So another option is Old Faithful. Probably be easier to hit it down. Ta-da. There it goes. And then the other one, rotor's in the way. Let me put this up top of here like this. So you can just really move it around. All right, so now I got the other one. I moved the rotor to the top and hammer. Here we go. There's one. Two. Here's the bracket. As you can see, the rear brakes take forever to wear, but we're gonna change them anyway. Probably should have did it one at a time, but whatever.
All right, there you go. Just like the front, we're going to use our T30. We're going to just do that. Okay. I'm going to put the rotor back on top of the bucket over here, just so it's out the way, because we're going to do some hammering. Again, there it goes. Not as hard as the front. So now let's go weigh them and see what the weight difference is for the rears. Okay, so first let's weigh the OEM rotor. $17.6. Yep, 12.4. It's actually a pretty good saving right there. 17.6 to 12.4. Not too bad. All right, next we're going to take off this shield, and you know, there's 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, and there's one down here you can't see. 4. We're going to remove those, take off the heat shield, and then we'll be ready to push the caliper back in further, and then everything should just slide right back together. And it's off. All right, so generally there's a tool you would use. You can push this back. I don't know how you do it with this little plate here, but what I'm going to use is this open wrench right here, and I'm just going to find a nice little spot, probably right there. Kind of see how I have it lined up. Just be careful. And it goes right back. That should be far enough back. Go ahead and put the new rotor on and see if that's far enough back with the new brakes. Remember, I'll push it back further once you get it a little bit snug. Make sure your area here is clean. Don't have to over tighten it or anything like that. Just snug is fine. Here we go, that's on. Then we want to put back on our bracket. And that's one. Let's do the bottom. I know I'm not showing you where the bolt is, but it's clear as day when you look back there where it's at. It's just dark and hard to get a camera in there. There it is. Now we have our brakes, and we're gonna put the wear sensor on once we get the caliper on. So if we're gonna do the wear sensor, we know that the one with the cutout is the one that needs to go on the inside. And then the one without the cutout will be on the outside, so we can put the wear sensor right there. All right, so first thing I'll show you on this side is there's a little spring on it. It's real tight. May take you some time to get it in there. Pause. All right. What I do is I try to get the spring part on and then push it this way and in, so it's kind of like like, I guess like that. And the rear side, a little bit harder since you can't see, but same premise. All right, there we go. It's on there. There they go. Now let's see if this is wide enough. And it looks like it is. Just put our wear sensor in there. There's where the bleeder valve is. They use that to hold down the sensor. You'll see it when you take it out. There. It is in. Let's see if I can get you to see it. So there it is right here. There's the wear sensor. All right, so it's installed now. And we're basically just gonna put our bracket back how we had it. Put our sensor back on. Put our 10mm back in. Tighten that back down. Once this is tightened down, I'll go back and turn the rear brakes. I guess they say out of service mode, but basically re-engage the rear electric brake so that it'll push back out. So now we got to put the bolts back inside of the caliper, bracket, and caliper. All right, there it goes. Now that's it. We can finally go ahead and re-engage the rear brake, then put on the wheel and take it off the jack stand, and we're finished.
Here are the brake rotors, and they do look amazing. I want to thank you if you watched the video all the way to this part. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Only takes a second, but it goes a long way to become a YouTube partner. Like button helps too. Push it up on the algorithm. Y'all take care of yourselves. Peace.